This is an Eye on Annapolis bonus podcast.
All right, we're down here at Yacht Haven in Eastport, and I love Eastport because that's like the best part of Annapolis. Anyhow, we are with Geremy Chelius, who is the Chief Operating Officer, according to the website, of a company called October Contracting. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for having me, John.
Awesome, man. Well, you know, we love to talk about local small businesses, and you are local and you are small, and we want to find out about October Contracting, and it's pretty much run by you and your wife, right?
Yeah, so it's we're a woman-owned business.
Okay.
My wife and I started the business a number of years ago, and we saw an opportunity for us to start, and so we started 6 years ago.
And you took it.
And we took it. And so I work for my wife, and we work together. And unfortunately, she couldn't be here today because the Anne Arundel schools had a half day. And
that's right. Well, okay, so she's the boss here in the office. What about at home?
She's the boss there, too.
Okay, and Geremy is the smartest man in the room here that admits that won't go anywhere there. But what kind of contracting do you do? I mean, I'm assuming I didn't see any pavers or something, or bulldozers out front, so I'm assuming you're not doing highway contracting.
We mainly subcontract out all of our work. We have a couple in-house carpentry guys that do smaller stuff. If we're doing a small office renovation or something like that, we'll take that with our in-house guys. But normally, we subcontract it all out. And so we're like what some people would call like a paper contractor.
Okay, well
so we manage the process.
Well, it's a critical part of the process for sure. But what types of contracting are you doing? I mean, are we talking houses? Are we talking skyscrapers? Or
yeah, so we started out originally focused on commercial projects. So we would, McDonald's is one of our clients. We'd do interior fit outs of office space. And over the past couple of years, COVID came, and we see what's going on with the office market right now, which was a big part of our business, and that's really slowed down a lot.
That's not surprising.
No.
We were joking. Edward St. John had last year or a year before, just before COVID actually, had a stellar year for St. John Properties, and he gave out, my numbers may be off, but I think he gave out $10 million worth of bonuses to his 200 and some odd employees. And I mean, some of them were literally life-changing bonuses at the Christmas party. And then, March 16th rolls around, and I'm like, oh man, I would not want to be the commercial real estate guy when everything shuts down.
Yeah, no, it wasn't a great time. But we've got a lot of really good clients that we've been working with for years, and so that really helped us get through it. So our office business is still going. It's just a smaller volume, which since we're not employing 50 guys, didn't kill us.
Right.
And then we still do retail and any sort of retail or restaurant type stuff we do. And then I was helping a friend who I won't name. He was getting in a very strong disagreement with a builder, and he was showing me some of his things that his documentation, and it was really bad. And I was like, wow, this is what you got for documentation for change orders and meeting minutes, and he was like, yeah, and just to preface this, there's a lot of really great home builders and renovators in Annapolis, but this particular one I was looking at, I was like, man, we can do this. Like, this isn't hard. And so we, entered into the world of large scale home renovation. So basically anything that has an architect, we won't design, build small stuff.
Okay, so you're not looking to finish out spare playroom in the basement.
Yeah, like a spare basement, finishing out a basement or something like that wouldn't really be up our alley. But someone who's, putting a second story on a house, or
a pool house or something along those lines.
That's right up our alley, or a new construction completely. Those are all things we do.
Very cool. Well, I mean, you talked about a bad relationship with the builder, and it's so critical to have a good relationship with everybody that's involved. And you talked that you said the paper contractor or something, but I mean, you're acting somewhat as a project manager. You are the point guy, I guess, if I'm looking to build a house.
Yeah, 100%.
the buck stops there, if you will. And it's critical to have that good relationship. I mean, the trust, the ability to sit there and say, hey, Geremy, this is screwed up. What are you going to do? Or back and forth. And I mean, obviously a good one will foresee the change orders that are coming and, at least let the homeowner or the soon-to-be homeowner know that they're coming down, or this is a problem with this, or this is what we need. Because, I mean, there's always obviously things that do come up that are, unforeseen. But your background is in construction, correct, yourself?
Yeah.
And Allison is in the money.
Right. Allison, she's grown her career in the finance world. She worked for a hedge fund in New York, or a fund of funds in New York, basically running their HR, and she's got a finance degree. So we work really well together because I'm out in the field, not out in the field as much anymore, but I'm out in the field and she's in the back office stuff. And so we share this little office here. And
that works perfectly. And your background, I mean, you're not a guy out on the roof swinging a hammer.
No.
Yourself. I mean,
but that's not to say I wouldn't do it.
Well, yeah, I mean, as a small business owner, you do whatever you need to do to get it done, get the job done. I mean, I'm sure if you're looking for a final inspection on something or other, and there's some nail pops. I mean, okay, well.
I hung a flat screen TV at 6 o'clock this morning in actually our attorney's office that we just renovated for them.
Oh.
So
nice.
I was hanging his flat screen TV at 6 o'clock this morning.
Nice. There it is. Before hours and all the service. But your background is you said your wife is in New York. Was that where you're from originally too? Yeah.
So I'm originally from New York. I grew up on Long Island.
You don't have the accent. Where is it?
I grew up on the North Shore, right, sort of in the middle.
Okay.
A little town called Huntington, which is very similar to Annapolis. I think that's why I love Annapolis so much. It reminds me of home. And well, I mean, now it's become home.
Right. Well, what brought you here?
My wife's family. So I started my career in commercial construction in New York City.
Ooh, that's tough.
It is. You've got unions and other people trying to do things under the table.
Where's Hoffa,
a lot of really weird stuff, but if you can build something there, if you get then you're given a pad site off of Forest Drive, it's nothing.
I'm channeling Frank Sinatra. If you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. I mean, my daughter lives up there, and I mean, I've seen just the way they sandwich things in the little places, and it's amazing.
I mean, the things you don't even think about are like emptying trash. Like if you've got these small little streets and you need to get a dumpster or something, you can't do it.
Yeah.
So you got to figure alternative ways, and so we'd have trash carts and things like that. And
do you miss New York?
At times. Especially in the winter, which sounds crazy to a lot of people, but from New York, we were only like 4 hours up to Vermont to do some great skiing.
Okay.
I miss that.
Right. Being from New York, you can drive in the snow, I'm imagining?
Yes.
Okay, you're not like a typical Marylander that you just hear that there's going to be flurries and schools get canceled.
Or my kid's school gets canceled and it just rains.
Does that embarrass you to say, when our neighbors react that way? It does me.
It does a little bit. I mean, it's like my brothers and sisters will text me and be like, really? A snow day? I can still see grass through your snow. I
know, but it's slippery snow. But so you said you've worked for your attorney here, and you've done McDonald's and stuff like that. What are some projects in town that you have worked on? Actually,
believe it or not, we've done one small painting project in town. But other than that, most of our business has been in Washington, D.C., Northern Virginia, Richmond, Maryland, like the Silver Spring, Montgomery County area. We actually do very little business in Annapolis, which we'd like to change for anyone who's listening.
I don't know. Do a couple and deal with their permitting issues, and you might sing a different tune on there. But I mean, can I come into your office and just sit down and say, hey, Geremy, I'm looking to build a house, and I don't know really what I want. I mean, I got $700,000 that's burning the hole in my wallet, and can you say, hey, yeah, I've got a nice little 600-foot apartment in Eastport? But I mean, could you take me from soup to nuts, start to finish, land acquisition, building, not furnishing with furniture, but I mean, the carpets and the tiles and the finishes and
so like I was saying, so when we got into building homes, so building homes is something that I've always really enjoyed. And it's funny, when I was starting my career, I was in my career, I was about to get married. I was like 3 weeks away from my wedding, and my bosses called me into their office, and I was like, I felt like I was getting in trouble. And they said, we got good news, we got bad news. I was an APM at the time, assistant project manager. I said, we're going to promote you to project manager. The bad news is you're going to build our homes. And so they each were building these ultra-modern, all-glass buildings, one in Cold Spring Harbor and one in Lloyd Harbor up in Huntington. And that was my job. I built their homes. That was
their personal homes.
Their personal homes. They were not easy clients.
No?
I mean, each home, one was 6,072 square feet, and the other one was 6,580 square feet.
And the 6,700 square foot was the CEO, right? The 6,060 was the COO.
They were co-CEOs of the company. But they were, they were all glass and modern, and what I like, that actually brought me into love modern architecture. I never liked it before, but what's really special about modern architecture is there's no room to mess up. You're not hanging a 12-inch crown molding to show a difference in a door height or something like that. Like it's all real.
It's pretty exacting. It's funny that you say that you like modern. I tend to like very modern, clean, square, and actually I don't even mind angles. And my girlfriend is just the opposite. I mean, she's more Center Hall colonial.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, oh my gosh, look at this condo that's got 3 levels and one sort of sticks out and it's got a rooftop deck and
Well, I live in a Center Hall colonial because living in those glass, houses and
people in glass houses.
They take a really very disciplined, neat person, which I've got 3 young kids, 2 dogs, and a cat. Are not that.
Okay, you might get the discipline. The whole neat thing is throw that one out the window for a while. And you also have to have the right place for it too. I mean, obviously, I think the land and the surrounding neighborhood and the environment plays a real big role into what can go on there.
My wife and I would say if we were ever going to build like a beach house or a ski house or something, we would probably do it really modern and just have fun with it.
There you go. Keep that one in your back pocket. keep that in your back pocket there. So you're looking to expand your residential. Do you have a preference yourself? I mean, who's easier to work with, the residential customer or the commercial?
They're so different. The residential people is like you're entering these people's lives. It's their biggest investment that they have, their home, and they're welcoming you and entrusting you to take care of it and build it, and their money as well. And so it's a huge responsibility, to work for a homeowner and to do it well. And it's also there's a lot more ambiguity and hand holding with a homeowner as opposed to when we're doing a job for JP Morgan Chase. It's this is this, that is that. It's cut and dry. Whereas a homeowner, we paint a room white and then they say, oh, I don't like that white. I thought it was going to be this white, and we paint it again. Whereas when we don't get that with our commercial clients.
I guess so. The commercial, this is the style that we build. I mean, you look at I jokingly talk about the Green Turtles, which is now Smashing Grapes here.
Right.
They built the same 3 buildings in Annapolis, Gambrels, and Pasadena. And when it switched to Smashing Grapes, I'm like, this is great because I used to drink at the Green Turtle. I know exactly where the men's room is. I can do it drunk and blindfolded. So it's, and not have to worry about it. And I think that probably in the commercial aspect, in some instances, a lot it's very, very lather, rinse, and repeat.
We've done a lot of McDonald's work, a lot of McDonald's we haven't done the new builds. We've done renovations of existing McDonald's, and I can do it based just looking at the building. I can do it in an hour and a half. I can tell you how much it's going to cost.
I would imagine that a commercial customer would also probably knows within a couple $1,000 what it's going to cost before you even come into the picture.
Exactly. Yeah.
Versus a homeowner knows the ballpark of where it's going to be.
But we did an estimate for someone who is a great guy and a local business owner, has a house right in Eastport, and he said, Geremy, I want to basically tear this house down, and this is what we want to put up. I said, that's going to be gorgeous. And so we went out and we priced everything for him, very specific about what he was getting, and he was like, all right, well, your numbers are like $100,000 off from the other guy that looked at it. I said, all right, well, let's talk about what do I have that he doesn't have. He's like, well, he didn't have the kitchen cabinets and he didn't have the counter. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, there you go. And
there we go. I'll back that out. Let's see where we are.
He wasn't furnishing the windows, and I'm like, okay, well, back those things out. And he's like, but it's more expensive than I thought. And I was like, that's what it cost.
Yeah.
And he actually called me up after he sold his house in Eastport and bought a new house somewhere else that was newly constructed, and thanked me and said we would have gotten in way over our heads on that, and we were kind of misled on a number of things, but
well, it's funny when you're going in the competition, and we'll say it's like a very bidding thing, and certainly in commercial you do a lot of bidding against other contractors. And I, in a prior life up in Pennsylvania, I worked for a highway contractor, and when you see somebody come in with a super low bid, there's a reason.
Yeah.
There's a reason. I mean, you missed something, they missed something, or there's just a big mistake, and it's going to cost somebody big time somewhere down the road.
Right.
And I convinced PennDOT one year to run a test for all their bids to go with the second bidder, eliminate the low bidder, because they've seen, here's something for a change order that they didn't catch, and I'm going to stick it to them.
Yeah.
Or, oh my gosh, I missed this, now I'm going to have to eat it.
Right.
And they tried it. It was too complicated to manage and to procure. But boy, I'll tell you, anybody can be low bid. I mean, I'll go job for job with you, and I'll beat you every single time.
But it's being the low bid and getting the job done
on paper. But I mean, try to be the second bidder, and that's real difficult.
Yeah.
And that's true. I mean, you mentioned about relationships coming into with a homeowner. I mean, you're entering into a contract with a commercial, and you're entering into a relationship with a homeowner that's doing it.
And so with the homeowners, you were saying change orders. Everyone thinks that contractors are getting rich off change orders. If I never had another change order for the rest of my career, I would be happy. It's generally, we make no money on them, and they're more of a hassle, and they make you look bad, and at times, and unless it's a true change. If they're like, hey, I want to add this or
put a balcony on.
But when there's a discrepancy and it leads to a change order, no one wins there.
Well, it just adds animosity to the relationship. I mean, we're antagonizing
and that's especially true for homeowners. This is their money,
Right.
Our client, JP Morgan Chase, like the project manager for them, it's not his money, it's Chase's money. He's just
right. They got plenty of money. Jamie he's loaded.
Let's just get it done on time. And whereas on the homeowner, it's like, this is my life savings that we're putting into this renovation. I don't want to spend another $3,000.
Yeah. Someone asked me, I mean, and this is probably just generally related, but how does one build a house from scratch? And I didn't really know that. I mean, as far as financing goes and stuff, I mean, I know if I go to buy a house, I turn around and I drop 10 or 20 grand as a down payment or more, or whatever it may be, And some bank says, okay, yeah, you look like a nice guy, and we'll write the check and you pay us for the next 30 years. How does that work when you build from scratch? I mean, like...
So you can buy a house with a construction loan, and this is certainly not my area of expertise as far as residential banking goes, but you can buy a piece of property with the intent to build a home, and then you'll get a construction loan on that. And so times we've done that, we've given draws to banks, and they pay out on the loan based on our progress. And
all right, so basically I go and I get a quote unquote mortgage.
Yeah, but in this town, make sure you go to the permit office first and make sure you can build what you want to build.
But I basically finance the thing initially up front, but it's a little bit for the land, and then as the building gets built, the bank they release funds on that building. So they're secure.
Yeah.
And then once it's finalized, it turns into a mortgage, I guess? Or?
Yep. Sometimes you have to refinance your construction loan at the end to turn it into a conventional loan.
But basically the same type of thing. You put a down payment and off to the races.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I'm watching your sweatshirt there. What's the significance of your logo? You've got sort of, it looks like a leaf with maybe some, is there any significance on there?
There is actually. So,
3 kids?
You know what? I didn't actually think of that. It was before we had 3 kids. We only had 2 kids when we made the logo. So my wife's family, from long ago was out west, and her grandmother loved wheat. And so wheat was in her mother's bouquet. It was in my wife's bouquet, and we don't know the actual significance behind it. We just know that it's holds significance in their family. And so originally when we were coming up with our logo, we tried doing, fall foliage or something like that, and nothing was right. And then she came up and said, well, what about some wheat? That would be great. Okay, let's try it out.
It's funny, I wrote here in my notes here, it said it looks sort of like 3 wheat strands.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. Well, where does October Contracting come from then?
So since it's my wife and I, we started the business together, and our last name's Chelius, and a lot of people can't pronounce it really well, and I don't like Max Construction or something like that. I like a name that has significance, and so October is the month that we got married in, and that's part of the birth of that. It's October is the month we got married in. It's the best month of the year, I think, for sailing, and it's really good sleeping weather, and October is just a great month, and so October it was.
Reasonable. You said a great month to sail in?
Yes.
You're a big sailor?
I am.
And I'm assuming with sails and all, not just powerboat or sailboat?
Basically, my passion is the water. So if I can be on a paddleboard, a powerboat, a sailboat, anything.
Just put me on the water.
Just put me on the water, and I'm good.
You think you could have picked a better office than Yacht Haven here?
Oh, that was the immediate appeal. I was like,
can't wait for spring till they get rid of some of these boats that are on land, so you can.
Well, I kind of look out the window, and I'm like, I could just step right on the deck of that boat and just be happy, pretend I'm sailing.
Nothing wrong with that. Well, Geremy, what makes a client a good client for you?
For us, someone who makes the best client is someone who's realistic and understanding and reasonable. The big thing that we tell all of our employees and everyone that we work with is that we treat everyone the same. Whether it's the guy who's coming to clean out the outhouse or if it's the homeowner, they all get the same level of respect, and I think that's really important.
Everybody has a key position to do.
Yeah, and at the same time, we want that back. And so the best client for us is someone that we can get along with, and we'll approach a problem reasonably. I mean, if you're building a home, you're going to have problems. It's built with men and women with 2 hands.
Sure.
It's not run
human.
through a machine. It's human. There's going to be a mistake, and it's how we approach that mistake and how the homeowner perceives and accepts that mistake, and we come up with the solution together. That's what makes the best client.
What's the worst customer? The one that the opposite of that, right?
The worst customer is the
no names.
It's a very specific. It's the Home Depot HGTV customer.
Oh no!
Who's, I can get this at Home Depot for $100, or I saw them do this on HGTV over a weekend. And
it's funny, I was just reading an article about the remnants of the Extreme Makeover Home Edition.
Right.
And how that show has bankrupted so many families because their assessments went up. They took, this little shack that was maybe worth $30,000 or $40,000, and they built this $200,000 house.
And then
now their taxes and their assessments, they can't afford that, and they're out of the houses. But they also said that what happens is that when you're building a house like that in 2 weeks or a week,
there's a lot of corners cut.
The corners are cut and falling apart. And
there's an old saying in construction: you can get it fast, you can get it cheap, and you can get it built well. Pick two.
Right. Yeah.
If it's fast and it's cheap, it's going to be poor quality.
That's the thing I've heard. My tech guy does that. My graphic artist, she told me that too. I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to spend two. Which one do you want? No,
yeah.
I'm not dropping the ball for
fast and good quality. It's not going to be cheap.
No, it'll definitely be there. But so if you're a fan of Home Depot and HGTV, this is probably not the place.
Well, you can be a fan of it because you can get great ideas, but
just can't be coming to them.
Understand
with the gospel.
that's television, and Home Depot is all builder grade stuff. It's if you're building a nice house in Eastport or Bay Ridge or something like that, you're likely not putting in Home Depot cabinets.
It's amazing. I've seen some very beautiful houses in the area, and I mean, it's amazing how detailed you can get. I mean, I've never purchased a house that has been more than a builder house. That they built in a community. It's there's 5 models or whatever. And there's slight modifications and stuff like that. But some of these custom homes that you've seen, both I saw some up in Philadelphia, outside of Philadelphia before I moved down here. It's just unbelievable. It's like, well, what kind of wood would you like on the floor? And it's not just the stuff that comes in the box at the Home Depot.
Oh yeah,
and it's like, oh, well, I don't like this grain. Okay, well, we'll send this back and get the grain that looks a little bit differently. And again, that comes with a price.
Yeah.
To do there. What's the biggest thing that you're seeing now in building that people want in their homes? I mean, I know that we talked about commercial dropping off, and I read one point where the home offices and home gyms are huge.
Yeah, the home office now it's not even a luxury anymore. It's it's a necessity. At our old house, we had we put in a classroom in our house as we were doing virtual learning, and so we had a room that was dedicated to virtual learning and the kids' crafts and stuff. And
how did they do with that? Really off topic.
Not great. It wasn't the best year, but we got through it. And I guess we're all stronger.
That's sort of the mantra of everybody.
Yeah.
2020 and 2021, one of the best years. But we're here.
We made it through, and they're back in school now, and just all I wish is that they stay there.
I just got to think. One thing I jokingly say is, first of all, when I start to refer to past time, it's like 2020 and 2021 almost don't exist. I'm like, do you remember like the other week when I'm like, oh wait, that was 2019. But we've lost a lot of the sociability that we had. We're staying 6 feet apart. We're fist bumping, and it's like, wow. I get up and I'm like, oh, pants. Need to wear pants. Just from all the work at home, and that's the worst part about the whole COVID thing. We've learned some things that have been good. We've learned how to certainly operate. I think if a tornado comes down and tears down your office, I don't think you'd miss a beat. You could probably just flip a switch and work from home.
Yeah, everything we do is on the cloud. It's accessible, and that's actually something we do that's a little unique with our clients, is that our clients get a portal that they log into, and they can see everything live so it's not, they don't wait for Friday afternoon for us to send them, an updated schedule or something like that. They log in and just look, and
that's not like bills of lading for stuff that was delivered to the job site?
Exactly. And if it's not there, then it's not there. If that budget isn't up to date, then their budget isn't, then on our end, it's not.
Wait, that's really cool. So if I'm building a house with you, and you're 50% done, and I realize the money's allocated a little bit differently, but I can actually see how much left I've got to spend in material and in your time and your expertise.
Yeah, you can just look down. We produce full schedules for each job, and so you can look at the schedule and look at where you are. And what we also offer is we offer a billing schedule, so the homeowner understands. Okay, when you're between 25 and 75%, those are going to be some bad months.
Yeah.
Those are going to be the big bills.
Yeah.
And then when you're towards the end, it's, all of the heavy lifting's over, and now we're just finishing up.
Do you do any kind of live streaming of the job site?
We have on our commercial stuff. We haven't really been asked as much on the residential stuff because generally the people aren't going too far, things like that. We're running a residential project down in Florida for a client, and we're just helping them. We're not, and they're one of the clients that they wanted live stream. It's a second home for them.
So you just set up a camera there, and
so they got a camera set up there.
They're having a cocktail party. Hey, check out this house we're building down, and there it is.
No, it's more like they look at 8 o'clock in the morning and say, "Hey, how come there's only 2 trucks outside?"
That's the worst. That's the worst. I noticed that he wasn't moving too fast on the roof. What was going on? Well, this is really kind of neat. Now, you did mention that your wife is the owner of the company, or the head end.
Yeah.
So are you a WB contractor?
We're actually in the process of getting certified. We are. It's not a fabrication. It's she owns 100%, and
she can fire you.
I'm just a W-2 employee.
she can fire you.
She can absolutely fire me. Sometimes I'd welcome it, but
what the hell have I done? But you are, as a small business owner, you are intrinsically involved in this with your wife, and it's not for the faint of heart. That's for sure.
No, it definitely has its ups and its downs. So the business was growing to a point where we were getting a little too large for my wife to handle all of the back office stuff, and so we had to hire an accounts manager who's also our office manager.
Which is stressful.
Yeah.
Now you're not only responsible for your own life.
Yeah, and Kimberly has she's got a really important role. But the day that she started was the first day that our children were home from school due to COVID.
Oh, my word.
And so I would lie in bed at night and just think, oh my gosh, this woman just left a job that, she was doing fine at. And we just hired her, and now just the world is ending. And
yeah. Is my business going to exist tomorrow?
Yeah, and so that was a really stressful, well, it's still pretty stressful, but those first couple of months were really stressful, and the business actually did really well throughout 2020. And
there's some that have done well.
Yeah.
And again, I think it's resilience of people. You sit there, you figure out how to make it. You don't have a choice.
Yeah.
This needs to work. So what do we need to do to make it work?
And so we made it work, and we've got a couple carpenters that work for us, and we have 3 superintendents to actually be the boots on the ground and run the jobs. They're the ones that do all the hard work, and I need to try and find the jobs.
Well, that's equally as hard as well. But octobercontracting.com is your website, and you're over here at Yacht Haven. It's Suite 202, which is at 326 First Street. And if you're in the mood to build a new house, definitely check them out. If you're
or a local business, we'd love to help out local businesses in town.
Yep, if you've got a McDonald's or experience with it,
yeah,
they can do that. Congratulations on the business, and it's still fairly young. You've been around for
6 years now.
Yeah. It's not this staid contractor for hundreds of years.
Right.
Third generation.
We're not a hit or something like that. We're getting there though. So
okay, so when I say I come back in 100 years, gosh, I hope I'm not around then. But so we'll be looking forward to checking it out in another 40 years and seeing what October Contracting with the
Or you can come see it. We just got accepted. We're doing a float for St. Patrick's Day Parade.
Oh!
Yeah, so we're excited about that.
With Mr. O'Leary. That will be on March 6th, I believe
That's
it is.
correct. So we've got to get a float and build something cool.
You know any builders that can build something like that?
I got a guy.
You got a line? You got a line?
I got a guy.
Well, great. Well, what we'll do is we will make sure that we wave to you and scream at you on the 6th of October at the St. Patrick's Day Parade here in Annapolis.
There may or may not be libations on our float. I'm not making any promises.
I know what that old may or may not is. So you were at your lawyer's house this morning, so lawyer's office. Okay, I get it. I got you there. Check them out at the parade. Check them out at octobercontracting.com. There's nothing funny about the spelling there. October, like the month. Congratulations on the business. I would love to see more stuff being built around town, and as you continue to grow out of your Northern Virginia and say Western Shore type of markets.
I would much rather be staying more local. So
That's it. And if you need somebody to go sailing with, Geremy seems to be your guy.
Yeah,
all about the water.
Always interested.
All right, hey Geremy, thank you very much. And again, octobercontracting.com. Really, it's looks like a company that is looking to partner with you rather than just to build your house and go away.
Absolutely.
Build your building, so.
Yeah, we're in it together.
This has been a bonus podcast from Ion Annapolis. Please visit us at ionannapolis.net. Follow us on Facebook at All Annapolis and on Twitter at Ion Annapolis. And if you haven't subscribed to the Daily News Brief podcast, go for it. And all of your local news will be delivered to your phone, tablet, or smart device by 6 a.m. every Monday through Friday.